already built in something. For example, like I don't need to give you a plastic and make a like a bottle every time. So this is the jQuery, right? So that's it. So if you want to make it, like they will give you all these things, like how to make and stuff like that, right? So that's the very important things. All right, so let's do some basic web development. This is our folder, I guess. Not this is the one, the old one. All right, so I select it. Okay, let's create some responsive web designs. So day 8, new folder, day 9, right? So let's see. I'll add a new page, right? Index.html. So main important part for the making website, like the responsive websites, it's called media query. So if you Google it, media query CSS, then it will give you more tips and tricks for making all those responsive websites. So this is the main key that you need to search, right? So media query, that's what you call. So now that means HTML5, right? And for responsive web designs, this line is very important. If you don't add this one, right, it will not be, like by default it won't detect it. So that's why this meta tag is very important. This meta tag. So name equals to viewport, right? Content with device with. So that means it checks the device before it loads the page, right? Then only that's what it happens. So initial scale means full percent, 100%. So now change the scales. I haven't tried that one. I never needed, so I didn't get it. So maybe you can try out that, right? All right. So now let's design the site first, not Notepad. Sorry. So what we need is, let's say we need a bigger container, the first div, right? So then after that, inside there is a header, let's say, right? So another div. Then let's say there is a menu block, and menu itself has a sub menus, home, stuff like that, all these things. Or maybe like there can, like this can be menu as well in the header section as well. So this one as well, and this is the content, and let's say this one is our right advertisement bar. So if this is a desktop, that's, yeah, and then we need a footer, so we add a footer, right? So this is the desktop first. Now let's say if you want to like convert that into a mobile, how it should look like. Let's say this is the mobile device, right? And then the header, it must squeeze by itself. Then the menu, like that menu, left menu, we want to display it here one after another, right? So home and stuff like that. And that content, the middle content was like that, and then the right bar will there, and then after that footer, right? So this is what we want to work it out. So writing a same one web page, and that should function for different devices based on the size, device size. Now, so that's what we are planning. So that means the bigger one, this is the container. So let me class container, right? So then there is a div class equals to header, right? So this is the header section. Then after that, let's say div, there is a menu section. Let's say we can call it class menu, right? Right, right. And then after that one, there is another div. So this is class, or what we can do is this one we want to add inside the div class equals to main dash content. So main content goes here, right? So inside the menu or the left bar, right? And then div class equals to the middle content, right? And then no footer, div class, and then the right, let's say side, that's for the advertisement purpose maybe. So after the main content, there is another div class equals to footer, right? So this is the mockup, the plain HTML mockup. So now let's write few things. For example, h1 header, right? Uh-huh. Yeah. 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 All right. So this is the thing. So now, and what we want to do is, our container, like always comes start in the middle, right? That's what we are planning to do, right? So that it's going to be easy for us, right? So now that's the menu. So inside the menu, there is, let's say, we have a different kind of ULs, and then LIs, right? And there is a href equals to. I'm not gonna add a link. I'm just gonna add all these bars, 4 bars about service, and then contact, let's say, right? 4 pages, and then this is the middle content. So paragraph 1, and then there will be another paragraph, right? So I go to the website and I copy few things. All right, so let's say nepalnews.com, maybe. I hope this site exists. Okay, taking. Okay, we'll just copy the lorry website. Okay, I want to copy this in one paragraph, right? Let's say this is the dummy text. Oh my god. Yeah, it's never finishing. No, it's okay. Let's okay. So this is one paragraph, and then let me copy this one so that I don't want to copy another one. Okay. Let's say we have a 3 paragraphs, right? The middle content. Or maybe in this middle paragraph, maybe we want to have some, like a div, and then this inside this div there is a class called circles. Okay, so let's say, like those circles link to something or images, right? So something like that. Now this is what it looks like. So let me go to the page, and then we go to the Java desktop, basic web programming, day 9, and then we go to index.html. Does it look like what we are seeking? Let's see. Okay, there is a header, there is a menu, there is this thing, and then we want to add a logo at the right advertisement bar. Let's say inside this right advertisement. Let's say G, and then this is h3 add advertise, right? Then yeah. So we want to make it smaller. src equals to, let's say, I img slash logo one dot, or yeah, logo one dot jpg. Okay, so this is one advertise, and then let's make it another advertise. So we have a 2 different advertise. So that means I need to have some images. So inside this one I'm gonna add a img folder. And is there any imgs? Yeah, there's a logo, right? So 1 2 3. So I'm gonna copy one, or let me copy this, or let me copy this, or let me copy this. Okay, this looks nice for me, right? So this one goes here, control V, right? So we write it logo, right? So that logo one. All right, so let me change it here, so logo, and then let me copy this and then paste it, and this goes to rename logo one, right? So that's it. So that means it should look like this. Everything is plain HTML, no styling yet. Yeah, these are the contents. These are for the, like lorem ipsum is, there is no design yet, right? So we have a header, we have a menu, we have a middle content, and then that should go. Footer I haven't write yet, so I'm gonna text, write a footer text. For example, here what we write is at the rate copy, right? So copyrights and all rights are reserved, right? Reserved. Okay, that's it. Reserved. That's it. Okay, that's not important. All right, so this is what it looks like. All these things. So not at the rate copy. That's ampersand. This is the sign of copyright. So this is what it looks like, right? Now let's start adding the header. So let's move everything into a center, right? So that means the container we'll write here so that it's going to be easy for us. So style, so that we can later move into a separate CSS file, right? Dot container, right? So container margin automatic, right? No, no, we are writing our own bootstrap, custom, right? Uh, flexible, yeah, yeah. Right. So then I define a width because like this website has to be a squeeze. If you define a pixel, what happens is, say, this is the website design. If you define 1,000 pixels, and if you squeeze it, like it will display only half, right? That will not squeeze. So automatically it has to be squeezed. That means we don't define a pixel. We define the percentage. So that means let's say it's a 90% of whole width, and then we want to define the padding from, let's say, 10 pixel from everywhere, right? And then text align default center, and let's also, okay, so text dash font family, we want to define it Arial, Helvetica and sans serif, right? So default. So that means according to our concept, everything went starting from the middle, right? Everything started from the middle. That looks nice. Now let's design the header now, right? Container, right? Container. So now the header, how big we want to make it? Width. Okay. So width, let's say not width, it's automatic, right? So what we want to do is we want to have a height. Height, let's say 100 pixel or 150, right? Then we want to have a background color, and background color is something like CCC, let's say, right? So this is what it looks like. This is what happened, right? So now maybe padding top 0, right? And then rest 0, padding top 0, and then okay, 10 pixel, border 0, and then 10 pixel. So that means clockwise, right? Clockwise, right? Okay, so this is what happens. Now even if you want to have a margin, let's see, if you define a margin, what's going to happen? Margin top 0 or margin dash top 0 pixel 0, and then margin, okay, let's try out if that comes into, it will come, right? So that means we need to have a auto, right? So let's just have a automatically that will define. All right, so that's everything. The content start from the center. So when we add a bootstrap, remember that one, it starts from the, yeah, it's the same thing. So now let's work with this menu, right? So inside, like here, this header also padding, maybe we want to have another 10 pixel, so that the header that doesn't attach with the top one. So this is what it looks like. All right, so this is looking more beautiful now. Or if you want to add another padding, let's say if you want 15 pixel, let's see what's going to happen. Okay, that's fine. So 10 pixel. Okay, so padding is 10%, right? So now if you want this text to be like start from the left, So what we can do is text align left. So that will overwrite the previous one. By default, it starts from the center, but we don't want it in the center anymore. So that's it. Now let's work out. Yeah, float right, but we don't want to use it. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is, let's see everything that we are defining into a percentage. Let's say I define a column dash 1 is a with 10 percentage, let's say, right? Or let's write everything into a single line, because we just want to define the width, nothing more than that. So that means this is the column 1 2 3 4 5 6 maybe. So 2 3 4 then 5 and then 6. So we can go up to 60%, 50, 40, 30 and then 20, right? So let's say the left menu, right, we want to have a 20%. So that means this menu called dash 2, right? So that means the width is 20%, right? Now, yeah, right, 20%. So we want to move this over here, right? This content here and this one over here at the end, right? So now that means what we say is, as soon as you apply, doesn't matter any of these applied any of these, like if you start writing everywhere float, like a left float left, you have to write so many lines. So what we can do is, with the CSS class star means everything. What class equals to call dash stars, sorry, call dash star, this one, anything that start with, make the float left, right? Anything start with that. So that means, right, now how many percentage you want to make this one, right? So this is 20 percentage and this one, or let's first design the menu, right? Which one? No. I mean, what I'm saying is, see, like this one, this call 1, call 2 is 20%. That is 20%. Yeah. Yeah. No. I haven't written yet. I need to modify it. But I'm just fixing, I'm just making the framework first. No. So it's applying this one. You don't have, like you can define anything. Like that will look for, files that is declared, that will apply. If doesn't declare, just the me. That's it, right? So it's not necessary that you write and it has to be in the styles here. It's not necessary that doesn't forces you. So let's see this one. This one is 20%, right? This one is 20%. So that means call dash, let's say 5, 50 plus 20, 70%. Then we want to make this right side call dash, let's say 2, right? So 20, 50, 90, right? Something like that. So that means if I refresh the page, this is what it looks like. Yes. Now this thing has to move down. So that means as soon as we finish this advertisement stuff, then div class clear. We haven't written yet, right? So that means we go up, clear both, right? That's it, clear both. Clear left, clear right, all these things you can do. Now, what happens is, like these all are coming from the left side, but I want this to be moved at the right side. That's why we have this right bar written, right? This right side written, right? So what we write is, for the right side, float right. Yes. So that means that the calls float will be overwritten, but the 20% will be there. right? Now let's design this menu. Now the turn is menu. So as per your concern, menu ul list style none, right? Sorry, not menu, dot menu. Menu ulli. Okay, so ulli padding 10 pixel. Background we want to make it as 8.
So we can use Bootstrap as well.
Yeah. Okay.
Bootstrap is like helping to, it's validating. The background n is missing.
Background, right? So background we have defined 1 2 3 4 5 6 back
N is missing.
Ground. Alright. So that means it will look like this. So there is no margin yet. So that means we have to define the margin. Okay. Margin 10 pixel maybe. Or margin dash bottom only 10 pixel. Bottom means from the bottom. We only want to define the margin below, not all side, right? And then we want to change the colors. So dot a menu ullia, and then color we want to define, let's say white or something, aqua, or let's say CEC or something like that. So that means it's gonna look like this, right? So everything is defined in a percentage. So that means, like this is what it happens, right? If you make a full space, right, and then if you squeeze it, it starts squeezing it. So if you open in a browser, it will look like something like this in a mobile phone. Not good, huh? Right? So yeah. So that means what we gonna do is, let me add this one. Let me make this one column 6, so that it does something like this, right? Or maybe like this content we want to have a padding, right? Dot content padding 10 pixel from the all size. Okay, so as soon as we define the padding, like not enough space, so we need to only 2%, maybe 5%. Still didn't work. Okay, 2 maybe. No. Okay, 0 pixel. Okay, so anything. Okay, that's fine. So maybe we can define from here, padding right, left, padding or margin. Margin dash left 5 pixel. Let's see what it does. Okay, so that means maybe we should move into a 50%. Okay, right? Now to make it more mobile friendly, now the media query comes up, right? So for the media query, what we want is every columns width is 100%. We want to define every call that you define at the certain pixel size, like all the column size must be 100%. That's what we want to define it. So let's say @media, right? Only, so that means we are forcing screen only screen and maximum width, let's say 600 pixel. So any screen that has the maximum size of 600%, apply this thing. Okay, so that means now again that column class thing, right? So class star equals to call dash search all the classes and then make the width of that calls into 100% responsive. Now we are applying the responsive. Nothing happens, right? So let's make it smaller, and this is what happens. Yeah, that means we need to write all these things over here. So for example, let's say over here now dot menu, right, ul margin dash left 0 pixel, right? So we are overriding it. So that means, okay, we made margin, or what we can do is we inspect. Okay, so this one dock side. Okay, so this is comes here, then okay, so let's make it element full size. Okay, not here. Oh my god, can't we make it from the outside? Outside, yes, make it full width. Okay, inspect li. So margin bottom padding maybe 0, no, 10, and then pixel. Okay, margin left, yes, left auto. Did it work? I did. Up arrow 10 px. Okay, so we have to define the margin into a negative, right? So in minus. So that means if you want to make it that big, so what you need to add is, and this inspect tool is very powerful, right? So that means let's say minus 35 from the left. So when we refresh it, right? Now let's say, like you don't want, because like there is only a 4 menu, right? What if there is like at least 4 5, more than 4 5, maybe 10 menus, right? The main content, I like when we open the main content, like I'm seeing this big header and then this big menus. So I want to make it that menu, like that header into a smaller. So the header, right? So header width, we want to convert that into a, let's say 80 pixel, right? So that means not width, height 80 pixel. And then if there was any images, right? So images, like smaller, we can make it smaller images, something like that. So when we go bigger one, automatically that zooms, right? Right? Okay, now we want to hide this one. Let's say, like there is a, inside that menu, there's a div, let's say, right? So this div a href, or let's say button. Okay, so button menu, we write it menu. So let me show you something like that. So this menu gets visible and everything is right. So that means by default we define this class called nav dash btn, right? So nav button, right? Navigation button. And then this default nav button, maybe what we can do is dot nav dash btn, by default display none. So we don't want to display it. So that means when we refresh the page, it's hidden. So what we want to do is, when we make it smaller, then only we make it visible, and this display goes hidden, right? Now, not now, we don't require that one yet. Dot nav button display block, and then that menu ul margin left, and then display none.
Okay.
We don't want to display it. So by default, so when it's a small bigger one, still displayed, right? So when we make it smaller, now this is what happens. So if you want to go to menu, now the JavaScript is required. That's why only for the CSS, Bootstrap theme CSS understand. But then if you want to like all these navigations, responsive menu, clicking this, that, showing all these things, then you require a jQuery, right? Now let me add a jQuery on these things. Okay. Now let's write this into a separate file, right? So now everything working and making sense.
So we can keep on writing the same thing.
Yeah, same thing.
And when we are done, we can transfer them to.
Yeah. So now let's say new folder CSS, and then we write a style, right? So let's say styles.css, and we go here, right? Save it, and then we add that link or link href css. That means that's it, css slash styles dot css. Maybe we can define a type text slash. It's better you write, right? Now we load a script JavaScript file, right? So src equals to, let's say we want to define from the website directly code.jquery.com slash jquery.mean.js, right? Yeah. So when we run it, like it will download from the website. Okay. Now let's add that CSS thing, JavaScript script. We write a start tag, so that means dollar. We call the function, right? We call the function. Now what we need to do is we need to have that identifier. Let's say, what's the name? Nav button, right? Nav button. We can access from the nav button, or we can define a menu, something like that. So basically dollar dot nav dash btn dot on click function. So nav button, like when we click on it, it should display. So dollar hash or not dot menu ul dot show, right? Clicking on that one. Or what if we click on the same one and it should hide, right? Toggle. Or maybe we can like write a if else conditions. Menu will be menu, too many lines, but still that's a logic, right? If else also. Yeah, yeah. So or what we can do is dot slide toggle, right? So this is what we write. Refresh, swing, swing, right? Okay, so if you want to do other one, right? So let's say this is the text, right? Now we can define where menu is menu on equals to false by default, right? So if is menu on, that means if true, if not on, that means this thing slide down, and then is menu on, we turn that to true, right? We memorize it. Else slide up. Still it's the same thing, right? It's like a slide toggle, right? It's the same. Now it didn't work because is menu on equals to false. As soon as you click it, you change the variable. Change the variable, right? So this menu, show menu, hide menu, right? So that means, let's say by default what we can write is, we can define show menu, right? So that means by default it's a show menu, right? So instead of this, where $menu equals to $this. So that means I'm memorizing it so that I don't have to write it down. If $menu, that means $this, right? Or we can write is this, the button that we're clicking, right? So this dot, now it's a button, so that means value, right? So the value, if value is show triple equals to, we're comparing with show menu. If it's a show menu, slide down and then change the value of itself into hide menu, right? And then this one slide up. When it's up, we change that into show menu again, right? So that means when we refresh the page, show menu, I didn't, okay, show, if it's a show menu, triple equals to show m small or capital, show menu, not val, because it's inside, not the value, html, right? So that's the html, it's supposed to be a html, then it's supposed to be a html. Ah, control x, control v, right? Right? How's that, brother?
That's nice. That's changing effect.
Right? So maybe you can give a effect time or something like that. Now let's add these circle things, like all these things, and we want to make these images a little bit, right? So that means these circles, we go to the styles now, and then circle, background, image, we know how to add, right?
Yeah.
Background URL, that is img/logo.jpg, and then we have to define the height and width. So we know the height of the picture is 160 150 pixel, and then width also 150 pixel, I guess. And then this background, we don't want to repeat it, so that means no repeat, right? So let's see how does it look like. This is what it looks like, and we have a okay, wait a minute. See, img it's there, and what happened is it couldn't able to load that images. Inspect, so column there, div, this one, is there any image? It went to look for the CSS folder. See, have a look, right? Logo is in a different folder, img. So that means one step outside, you find the img. Inside the img there's a logo.jpg, and then you add the logo.jpg, and this is what it happens. Now we want to make it circle, so that means border dash radius 50% is, and
I used to write 50
pixel. Right, so okay, so margin, let's say 10 pixel, right? And then float left, and that looks like Amitabh Bachchan. Now maybe what we can do is, like this, inspect things. If we look at this column, and the percentage is 50 ever since, you know, like we can make it bigger, and 59, so that means we can go to 59, right? So that 5 means maybe we can write a 59%. We go down, 5 is not 5, it's a 59, let's say, right? So then, did it work? Did I save?
I think it worked because you already changed that from
Uh-huh. Okay.
typo.
Okay. And maybe there was a padding and stuff like that, that's why, you know, like it's giving something like that. So all these things you have to work with, these smaller things called this inspect one, right? And then you have to start adding that. So you know how to animate it, you know, like when you hover it, you change into a different images, you can do that, right? Okay. Yeah, so you can do that, and then, you know, like if you want to have this into the middle, you know, like all these margin and stuff like that, if float is right, that's why the loading is coming from there, but we have to bring it down, you know. So all these things, if you want to have all these pictures, this goes like this, float left, never leave it, right? And we have a very attractive responsive web designs for us.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's add this float div clear after these circles, then that will be much sexier, I guess. Div class equals to clear, and then div close, and then we refresh, right?
Much better.
Much better. Now previous animations you add it, you know, like all these things, to start making your own bootstrap. Now play with the colors. Now if you want to, you know, like a little bit, you know, you want to rotate it, right? So what you can do is that img thing. Where is that img?
So,
Is there any img? Did we write anything for the img right side? No, right?
no.
Okay, so dot right side, and then img tag, anything that you find inside that, right? So transform, rotate, let's say 7 degree, and then
Okay. Yeah. Do that. That's good. Nice.
and you can drop shadow stuff like that. See, like css,
Today I
css
joined the class.
shadow, right? Okay, shadow effect, box shadow, there's a box shadow as well. Okay, so shadow effect is like that, right? So image shadow effect, so box shadow. Okay, for the shadow, text shadow, and then box shadow, text shadow. Okay, where is the box shadow? Is there any box shadow? Control F, box dash hha box shadow. Okay, so let's say shadow, what do you write? 2 pixel, 2 pixel, 2px, 2px. Let's see what it does. Or maybe shadow rotate. Only rotate css shadow box. You go down. Okay, position. Oh my god, so many things we need to write. Okay, so now 7 pixel, or let's say 5 pixel, and then 10 pixel, box dash sa shadow dash. Is there any style? No style. Okay, okay, so this is what we can define, right? So I copy this, paste it. Ooh la la. Now make your web page very attractive and sexy. That's all. Alright, so you know now how to make a responsive website, right? So you know how the bootstrap works?
Yeah, just a random.
Yeah. Now your job is to like I made the home page. Your job is to make all these pages right inside all these home about contact us fit into one simple pages. I mean web app the responsive designs for all pages.
So make every for everyone
Yeah.
separate
For
other
different pages,
pages.
other pages,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Link them.
All right. So let me get back in a 5 minutes.